Hi guys, my name is Brandon from Brandon Go Traveling, and welcome to my channel. My job is to help you get out there, explore, travel, and really answer any questions that you might have about your upcoming adventures. In this video, we're going to be talking about Dachau concentration camp. And we'll talk about, you know, what was Dachau concentration camp, as well as how do you actually get there from Munich or surrounding areas. So let's get started. Before I describe what we're looking at here, I just wanted to say it's really easy to get to Dachau from Munich. It's a 25-minute train ride from Munich, and it only costs about €9 each way, so really simple to do. I know you could also drive, and that takes about 30 minutes due to traffic and congestion. But anyways, what we're looking at here is the entrance into Dachau concentration camp. And to give you some numbers, 200,000 people walked through those doors. And of those 200,000 people, 28,000 people were murdered at this camp. So this is a little over 10%. And you have to think, it's just the atrocities that went on here is just insane. But when you actually walk through those doors, there's a sign that says work will set you free. So you have to think when the prisoners were walking through those doors, work will set you free to what? Death? I don't know. What was their first thoughts that were going through their minds? Originally this camp was also built in 1933, and it was supposed to hold initially only 5,000 people. When this camp was finally liberated in 1945, it had over 67,000 people between this camp and some sub camps that were, not too far away. So you have to think of, the capacity issues that they were having here and how overcrowded and disease ridden this camp really would have been and would have looked like. What we're looking at here is a replica of what the living quarters would have looked like for the detainees at the camp. And in total, I believe that there's one or two of these still standing. And like I said, they're just replicas. But in total, back in when the camp opened, there would have been 32 barracks for the prisoners. So you can imagine the size and scale really of this camp. And to put in the scale of really how large this camp was, this is a photo from me standing all the way at the back. So, you could imagine that each of those concrete sections, that's where another barracks was held. And you just look at the size of this and you say, wow, how this was crazy. And like I was saying before, 67,000 people were in this camp at the, very end. If you look to the right, you'll actually see a watchtower. So that's where the SS would, obviously watch the prisoners, make sure they weren't escaping and things like that. One of the things that was also interesting about this camp, which I didn't know about, was this was the model camp for all of the concentration camps in Germany. So this is what the head guy wanted the concentration camps to look like. They wanted to have the gas chambers, the crematoriums, the toilets, the kitchens, the crazy medical places. And really, that's kind of what they were mimicking. The concentration camp was also used as an SS training site. So this is where the SS came to get trained on how to, guard the prisoners, and kind of what to do if one was escaping and that kind of stuff. So what we're looking at here is the crematorium that was on the camp. Now, this crematorium was said to really have potentially killed about 28,000 people. So, like I said, 28,000 people perished at this site. That being said, when the site was finally liberated in 1945, it was said that there was just bodies everywhere around this constant or this crematorium. Uh, and that was mainly because the Germans, they couldn't keep up with how many people they were killing. There was just so much death at this site that the bodies just kept stacking and stacking up. So I do have a short video kind of describing what the crematorium is, or just showing you at least. It is kind of wobbly, so I do apologize on that. But it will also show you the room where the bodies were stored before they were, finally put into the furnace. Right. So as I was saying, just a short overview of what the crematorium looked like in the inside, and kind of really just what a disgusting sight it really was, and where the bodies were stored. Right. So what we're looking at here now is a kind of a replica of what the barracks would have looked like. These aren't the original barracks. This is just a reconstruction. But it was said that these barracks, when they were built, they were only supposed to hold about 200 people. And towards the end, towards 1945, when it was finally liberated, there was 2,000 people being held in these barracks. So you can imagine, you know, a space where you only have supposed to have 200 to having 2,000. You can only imagine really the conditions inside one of these barracks. So one of the things I thought was pretty interesting about this camp was that it has a gas chamber on it, but they say that the gas chamber on this concentration camp was never actually used to, complete mass murder. Now, there are some accounts from people that were at the camp that said, small groups of people were killed here, but it can't be proven. But, my argument to that is always, why would you have a gas chamber and then not use it? Why would you build it to begin with? And if it's for fear, I mean, you're already at a prison camp. There's already tons and tons of ways that, you're already afraid. So why would you have the gas chamber if you weren't going to then use it? One of the things that they did do at this concentration camp, though, was some pretty horrific medical experiments. Looking at, one injecting people with malaria, one doing high altitude, like, and testing and how that would affect your body. Also doing like hypothermia tests, so freezing people literally to death. But those are just some of the things that they did at the camp. Like I said, that they didn't do. Supposedly they didn't use the gas chamber. What we're looking at here is the waiting room. So essentially, people would line up in this room. They'd be told that they're going for showers, and then they'd then be brought into the gas chamber. And this is what the gas chamber looked like. So they'd walk in from that room, and this is they'd be greeted with this sight. What we're looking at here, up here is where the gas would come from. So this is supposed to mimic like a shower head, right? And then obviously here is the drains. Okay, so gas would be pouring in out of all of these sites. The door would be locked and shut, so that people couldn't get out. And this is really what they'd be faced against. And like I was saying, I'm not a historian by any means, but like I said, why would you have these gas chambers and not use them? So it does make you think and makes you kind of question the validity of, you know, were these actually used or were they not used? I don't know. You be the judge of that. So like I was saying earlier, this is one of the watchtowers and what it looks like on the side. So this is a fence. So the SS, when they were here, when they were guarding the prison camps, there was a line that was drawn, and if the prisoner was to cross that line, the SS wouldn't ask any questions. They'd shoot the person trying to escape. There's also stories where people would just say, "Screw it, I'm running," right, and they do it just to end their suffering at the camp. So yeah, this is what it looked like. This is the outside perimeter, and on the right hand photo there is a watchtower. Right, guys. So this is going to end the little overview of the Dachau concentration camp here. What this plaque is showing is commemoration to the army division that ended up liberating the camp. And one thing I will say about the camp is, like I said, I think everybody should go there because it does put into perspective a lot of what you learned in history class. And if we don't keep these memorials alive, we're going to forget them. So I do think it's important. I do think everybody should go there, check it out, and keep the memory alive. But that's gonna do it for this concentration camp, guys. Please, give me a like and comment below. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them. Like I was saying before, probably 4 hours at the camp, and then probably maybe go somewhere else after that. But yeah, definitely a site worth visiting, and let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.